Lesson 10. My thoughts do not mean anything.
Hi there. Let's revisit the idea that we don't have to believe every thought that crosses our minds. In fact, what if we train ourselves to view these thoughts as completely meaningless? Can you imagine how this approach could open us up to a deeper understanding of which thoughts are truly ours and which aren't? Let's explore what Lesson 10 can teach us about this.
My thoughts do not mean anything.
This idea applies to all the thoughts we're aware of, or become aware of during our practices. It might sound radical, but let's stick with the lesson for a moment. All those thoughts we're aware of throughout the day, they're not our true thoughts. Surprising, right? But it's true. They're just passing clouds in the sky of our mind. The fact is, we don't know our real thoughts. If we did, we would have no doubts that all those thoughts crossing our mind are meaningless. And yet, we still believe them, don't we? We've already encountered today's idea in a very similar form.
Lesson 4. These thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room, on this street, from this window, in this place.
However, today the form is only slightly different.
My thoughts do not mean anything.
This time, we're saying my thoughts instead of these thoughts, and we're not making any connection with the things we see around us. In fact, we'll be doing the exercises with our eyes closed.
The emphasis is now on the lack of reality of what you think you think.
The process initiated by today's idea begins with the recognition that the thoughts we're aware of, in truth, are meaningless. They're focused on the external, rather than the internal, on the past rather than the present. To use a metaphor, they're like echoes of a song, not the melody itself. The presence of these thoughts in our minds signifies only one thing: we are not truly thinking. We might be on autopilot, or perhaps replaying old records, imprinted by past impressions and wounds, possibly dating back to our infancy or even further. In the words of the Course, our mind is a blank. Recognizing this is to understand when we're not thinking at all. And this, the Course assures us, is the prerequisite for vision. So, for today's exercise, let's close our eyes and slowly repeat to ourselves the idea of the lesson a few times.
My thoughts do not mean anything.
My thoughts do not mean anything. My thoughts do not mean anything.
And then let's say,
This idea will help to release me from all that I now believe.
now, let's search our minds as we did in our previous exercises, without favoring one thought over another, without excluding any thoughts, and without any judgment whatsoever. Let's not even attempt to categorize or classify our thoughts. If it helps, imagine watching an oddly assorted procession pass by, to which we have no attachment and assign no personal meaning. As each thought crosses our minds, let's simply say,
My thought about this does not mean anything.
My thought about that does not mean anything.
for example,
My thought about my job does not mean anything.
My thought about my ex does not mean anything.
My thought about this problem does not mean anything.
My thought about my body does not mean anything.
My thought about my failures does not mean anything.
My thought about this person's opinions does not mean anything.
we can use this idea to diffuse any thought that distresses us, today and from today onwards. If we allow it, these ideas can become our personal toolbox for dealing with the various issues we face due to our painful interpretations of the world unfolding around us. All we need to do is make them a habit and practice regularly. Today's idea should be practiced at least 5 times, with each session lasting no more than a minute of mind searching. If you experience any discomfort during the exercises, feel free to reduce the duration to half a minute. However, remember to repeat today's idea before each minute of mind searching.
My thoughts do not mean anything.
And let's not forget to add,
This idea will help to release me from all that I now believe.
amazing, isn't it? Some of us might find it challenging to grasp that our thoughts don't actually mean anything, and that in truth, we're not really thinking at all. Yet, doesn't this idea explain a lot about the appearances of what we see around us, including our interpretations, behaviors, and reactions? If this concept makes you uncomfortable, just remember that there's a way out. We do have real thoughts deep within ourselves, and we're on the right journey to uncover them. You're doing great. See you tomorrow for another enlightening lesson. Quick reminder, if you haven't seen the introduction to this video series, please check it out. It's foundational for our journey together. Just click the video link after today's supporter presentation.
I know I am in my heart so loud. Oh, I feel so warm. I am so warm.
Supporters help make these videos possible. We are a growing community of wonderful people, so why not support each other? Be part of this. Check the video description for more details.
Did you enjoy the video and find it helpful? Please give it a like and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We have a new lesson every day. And if you've been with us for a while, please consider supporting the channel. There's a lot of love behind these videos. Check out the video description for more details.